daughter's back at college, so I'm going to resume recording poems. We are recording unpublished poems written approximately between 2010 and 2020. We're in the middle. There's a lot of them. I've published a lot of poems, but I've also not published a lot of poems. This one's called A Small Decapitated Woodland Creature. Probably a mole, not a mouse, brought into the house by our cat, whose murderous impulse you can't control. Brought as a token of guest friendship, the way an ancient host might give a wandering visitor the first and best portion of an animal slaughtered for the occasion, a pig, a lamb, or the thigh bone of a kine. Although in this case, the roles are reversed. I am the host, and my cat our guest. The mole is small enough, thanks, for all that we have done. Still, once again, the ritual. While the cat insinuates itself between my feet, I pick the dead, fly-pecked bundle up with a shovel and carry it out to the compost pile. Okay. This next one is called A Crow. Not sure why we're going to a page, but here we are. A crow. A crow hangs between the trembling aspen and the sky, like a leather glove carelessly dropped, as dark as the sun, or an autumn afternoon, or a sudden sinking thought that dims the substanceless blue. That's an imagistic poem. Easter 2011. I've always been fond of this poem. Easter 2011. The day before, the rain maintained its muted gossiping all afternoon, like the murmuring of a creed in a church, empty except for the half-heard sound. I am poured out like water. A homeless man was pissing in the doorway of the hypnotherapist, just feet away from where we had parked. We waited with the radio on until he was done, listening to Sweet Jane. I can still smell the sour smell of my 19-year-old cat, rotting from the inside out. The veterinarian's assistant told me it was $130 extra to have his ashes to take home. I held him wrapped in a blue terry cloth towel as the pet doctor administered the drug that would stop his heart. They die with their eyes open, she said. A lot of people are not prepared for that. I lay him, still warm, upon the cold stainless steel examination table. His eyes, in fact, were closed. I should probably say more about these poems, but I don't think so. If I think of something to say, I will. But they speak for themselves. I think. I hope. Appreciation of nature. The rain and the sound of the rain was relentless, and the air smelled like wet grass and lake water. I don't drink rum, said Josh, as he poured himself another rum and orange juice and aimed his forehead into the glass. My daughter, 6 now, was down on the narrow beach, wading out along the dock, naked, oblivious to the rain, and trying to catch a fish in her bare hands, screaming with the fun of it, while the downpour mist obscured the far shore, turning all the distant trees into incandescent candles. Not being able to remember the name of that song. My daughter practices the piano in the other room. I can't tell whether she is playing a song or not. The way she stumbles from key to key, spelling out in fitful dissonance, impatience, quickness to anger, and shame are bred in my fingers, but love is still my name. Back in Black. The burn victim, in line at the Chicago O'Hare Five Guys, turned and stared in my direction for a full 40 seconds. Her ragged hair was peeled back from her reddened scalp. Her ears were melted to the sides of her head. She clutched her Hannah Montana knapsack in the fused fingers of her hands. Her eyes, because her face was just a scar, did not betray whatever inner thought that her 14-year-old mind framed, but merely stared like polished stones into the vacant air, or at me. It was hard to tell. until the strains of AC/DC's Back in Black snarled down from the corporate speakers overhead, and she began, somewhat smugly, to sway in time. I thought I saw. I thought I saw myself, but younger, brooding in a coffee shop where he plotted his revenge against the world and others. Bloodshot eyes dimmed by the passing of what passes for thought these days, as if waiting for someone else to appear, someone perhaps not worth the time spent waiting. A tattoo of a broken heart impaled on a dagger, pinned to the pulsating veins of his neck. But it was just a hangover sitting in a chair, ill-fitting clothes and unshowered hair, struggling to will his self back once more to his list of things not yet done today, trying to connive his way back to the empty world. One monkey don't stop no show. Driving from Holton to Bangor on the shortest day of the year, I am trying to reach a horizon of shifting and uncertain light, in which ahead and overhead are the same scrims and skeins of condensed moisture that shroud, deflect, and hold the late winter afternoon. The late itself is like a darkness, a shadow casting gauzy shadows that tremble but do not appear to move. A light snow races toward the car. We are accelerating to the speed of disappearance. And all along the road, the trees, like dark sentinels robed in white, stand and fall, receding into a preternatural oblivion. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think I'll read 2 more. The problem. The man who fixes my car says it is no problem. The problem is the defroster is broken. I can only see anything by scrubbing a small porthole at the bottom of the windshield and stooping to peer through the rungs of the steering wheel like a man with a hunchback. The high-speed panorama around the car reduced to an image blurred at the edges, like the antique negative cast by a camera obscura, except not reversed. Not yet. That's a poem about perception. Joplin. This is based on a tornado. There are no words for this. You cannot watch it on TV. It is mostly deafening sound, a dark rope twisted like molten lead as the earth funnels up from the ground, churning the level plain, turning midnight upside down in its thunderous, flashing advance, as if the angry sky itself were on a murderous rampage across the rain-soaked field, cold and dark, implacable, insane. All right, that'll do it for this batch.